The point-and-click adventure genre, what happened to it, and the mainstream version of point-and-click. All in today's Stuff That Sucks. So I recently did a top 10 best point-and-click adventure games. So if you haven't seen that yet, click on the description below or this annotation right here. But when I was writing the scripts and doing research on these PC games and asking our community about it, I was kind of wondering what happened to the genre. So when you say point-and-click adventure game, what's the first thing that popped into your head? For me, it's like old 90s nostalgia games from like LucasArts, like Monkey Island and long stuff along those lines. And other people, it can be like niche games on Steam that came out in the last couple years. However, there's a big mainstream kind of movement with the point-and-click adventure, and that's with Telltale, who I think make point-and-click adventures. This is like the casual gamers like go-to for like supposedly point-and-click adventure games. However, I think it sucks the generation of gamers think that games like The Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, Batman, Tales from the Borderlands, they think that these are point-and-click adventure games. When they really aren't. They're not bad games by any means. Telltale tells great stories with their games. Games have won awards, they're critically acclaimed, people like playing them. But when you break it down, you break the game down to its core, what are you doing? So you're watching a cutscene, you select dialogue options, and then you follow a QuickTime prompt. There's an unfortunate lack of puzzles and inventory management that made some of the best LucasArts PC games great. Now these games from Telltale, they don't really have that anymore. I mean, they did at one point. They started out doing like real heavy puzzle point-click adventure games, and then starting with The Walking Dead, it kind of devolved or evolved, I guess. Some people think it's an evolution, some people think it's a de-evolution of the genre. In my personal opinion, the Telltale games are kind of like an all-new genre. I don't think they're really point-and-click. I think they've created an entire new kind of game genre in itself. Because I've seen The Walking Dead, Batman, Tales from the Borderlands under RPG, under action-adventure, under point-and-click. But when you get down to it, what they are is they're really focused on telling you a story, an interactive story that you feel you can be a part of. Unfortunately, when it comes down to it, the game is just about making dialogue choices and following QuickTime prompts. The majority of games. I know some of the other games are a little different, but we're talking about the mainstream Telltale games. So when I was wondering like what happened to the genre and if it had died out, because right now in the media, what you're really seeing, you're seeing a lot of, Batman from Telltale. You're seeing a little bit of that Thimbleweed Park that guy who created Monkey Island's doing. But I was afraid, I was like, well, is the genre dying? Like, is nobody making these games anymore? And I did a little research on Steam. There's actually quite a few that have been released the last few years. So there's Shardlight, Dropsy, Kathy Rain, The Book of Unwritten Tales 1 and 2, Techno Babylon, The Golden Wake, Tesla Effect, Broken Age, Broken Sword 5, Void, and Meddler, and those are only some. There's actually a few more on Steam, and these are like true form point adventure games. Now, unfortunately, for someone like me, I'm a big fan of like goofy, funny point-click adventures with a lot of humor in them, so like the rebooted King's Quest I think is great. I think the puzzles are a little easy, but it's fun. Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle, Full Throttle, I like games that have a lot of cartoonish humor in them, and a lot of these games don't. A lot of them are actually fairly serious and very abstract, which I guess it says for the genre itself. I mean, it was huge in the 90s. Obviously, what's great can't continue on forever, so now people are focused on more serious stories. But it could just be me. I feel like a lot of these point-click adventure games, these are point-click adventure games. These ones on Steam, Monkey Island, Day of the Tentacle. I don't feel that Telltale's point-click adventure. That doesn't mean they're bad. I just don't feel it that point-click adventure, and I feel it sucks. And I'm talking about it because I think that people are thinking that's point-click adventure. I think this generation of gamers are going to think that The Wolf Among Us and The Walking Dead, these are point-click adventures, when it's a stretch. It really is. And it could be just me being nostalgic, but I think a lot of the 90s games that were put up on PC by LucasArts, those are your perfect example of point-and-click adventure games. Sam MX Hit the Road, Monkey Island 1, 2, and 3, Maniac Mansion, Day of the Tentacle, Full Throttle. But I want to get your opinion on this. What do you guys think of the point-and-click genre as a whole? Do you think it's still strong? Do you think it's evolved into what Telltale's doing? Do you think it's too niche, with it only being on Steam, on Windows, with very serious stories? I mean, we just had Day of the Tentacle Remastered come out. Before that was Grim Fandango, and now we're having Full Throttle come out next year, which is really great. But do you think the genre is too niche now for today's, young gaming audience? Hence how Telltale has designed their games, Walking Dead and Batman and stuff. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the point-and-click genre, and if you think the Telltale is a de-evolution or an evolution of the series, if you consider it point-and-click or not, let me know in the comments below. For more videos like this and everything else gaming related, you're already in the right place. You're on Shacknews.com.